Hi there, this is Heather Barrow from Food for Life, and you are listening to Radio Kidnappers. My program is called Food for Life, and I am a registered clinical nutritionist located at G's Pharmacy in Taradale. So come on in and say hello. So today I thought I would just talk a little bit about what I do, why I do it, how I got into the role of being a nutritionist, and talk a little bit about why I believe there is a new era for nutrition globally. So as I just said, I am registered. So when you're looking for a natural health practitioner of any sort, be it a naturopath or a nutritionist, you do want to look for registration. So being registered just means that I am registered as a nutritionist with a clinical body, which is the Clinical Nutrition Association in New Zealand. This just means I've gone through the education. I've put in my years of schooling, and I continue with my education requirements. So every year, in order to stay registered, I have to complete so many hours of continued education in the way of seminars and webinars and that kind of thing. So if you're looking for a natural health practitioner, do look at the governing body in New Zealand and just see who's registered. Yep. So how did I get into being a nutritionist? So just a little bit quick background about myself. So obviously from my accent, I'm not from New Zealand. I'm from the States, the East Coast, if you know where Maryland is, so it's right outside of Washington, D.C. And I've lived in New Zealand now for 11 years, so I am a resident of New Zealand, this beautiful country. And when I came to New Zealand, I actually started up my fitness business. So I have always been into the gym, being active, wanting to just be really fit. And so from a young age, as you do, you get your hands on all sorts of fitness magazines, and you can't get into a fitness magazine without some sort of nutritional advice listed somewhere in there. So from a young age, I started reading all these magazines and reading up on all the nutrition stuff, and I just couldn't get enough of it. So I started buying nutritional books from a young age, really, probably about 15, 14 years old. And I developed a collection over the years, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. I have been for a very, very long time. So that's what you get when you get me. I was a sprinter as well, so I just thought I'd mention that in high school and university. I love being fit and speed and seeing how fast I can get. My fastest time with the 100-meter dash or 200-meter dash. And of course, what I ate played a huge role in that. My lifestyle choices, how much water I drank, all of that kind of thing. So that's a little bit about my background. I am still a fitness instructor, so I do still run my own fitness business. I teach 2 classes a week if you ever want to pop in in Taradale on Neve Road, Monroe Dance Studio. So I teach a dance fitness class, otherwise known as Zumba, Mondays and Wednesdays, 9:30 to 10:15. So when I came to New Zealand, it's been 11 years now. I already had my Bachelor of Science, and I decided I want to go back to school. And I studied anatomy and physiology, as you need to know how the human body works to be a nutritionist, and nutritional science. So that's what I did back in 2014. So I've been practicing now for a little over 5 years at G's Pharmacy, where I am now in Taradale. And I often get asked, well, what does a nutritionist do? So yes, I'm a registered clinical nutritionist, and I've had to think about this, and I meet with other nutritionists on a regular basis, and we discussed this at our last get-together. What do we actually do? How do we define a nutritionist? And so this is kind of what I came up with. So holistically, we look at all different areas of the body. So our training was, yes, in theory, but also very practical. So we did a lot of hands-on interactions with people that would come in off the street under the supervision of our instructors, our teachers. So we are looking at your lifestyle, what you do for work, your stress levels, your environment. Where do you work? Are you surrounded by sprays or chemicals? You work in a factory, you're standing on your feet all day. We look at your current diet, of course. What are you eating? What are you putting into your mouth? We look at all the 10 body systems, so we study that in anatomy and physiology, and we have to know how the body works. We need to know about the hormonal system. We need to know about the endocrine system, your liver, your kidneys, your gastrointestinal tract, your lymphatic system. There's so much to know. And what we do with that, and asking you lots of different questions, is we assess your nutritional needs. So I believe that the body speaks. You recognize, hey, I've had a headache for the past week. Hey, I'm waking up and I'm feeling really nauseous throughout the whole morning. I've noticed my tongue actually looks a bit yellow, or I've got a coating on my tongue. There are so many signs and symptoms that the body gives that something is out of balance. And so that's what my job is, to do the detective work, if you will, ask those questions and figure out what the body's trying to say. So our training is to recognize all the signs and signals that the body gives, that something might be out of balance or in need of support. And then we develop and implement nutrition programs to help treat the entire body or achieve a specific health-related goal. So once you come to see me in a consultation, it's an hour and a half. It seems like a long time, but when you're actually seated there, people tell me at the end, I cannot believe I've been here for an hour and a half. And my job is to assess the entire body in that time. So you may be coming in to see me for a health-related issue. So maybe you have hypertension or high cholesterol. Maybe you're constipated, or you have stomach pain or gas. Maybe you think there's a hormonal issue, or you're presenting with acne or eczema or psoriasis. So my job is to get to the bottom of that, figure out the root causes, give you treatment notes from that hour and a half consultation, and continue the relationship and follow up until we've treated your condition. Now maybe you're listening and you think, I actually don't have anything wrong with me, but it would be nice to know if I need, if I'm deficient in a certain nutrient. So think of the consultation like a Warren of Fitness for the entire body. So I'm going over everything. Just like you would take your car in for a checkup, you can take your body in for a checkup. So really the title for this talk is A New Era for Nutrition, because I believe that times are changing. I see time and time again that the medical profession is coming under pressure. There's an increased demand on their services. The doctors are experiencing an overwhelming rise in patient numbers. And there are some statistics about physicians really suffering under the pressure, even suicidal, just so many clients, so many issues. And I'm finding that doctors are starting to look more towards nutrition, and they're starting to study it on them by themselves, and they're actually starting to refer to people like myself to help with that demand on the service. Lots of companies are taking this health message on board. So I don't know if you've noticed out there, there's a lot of best-selling books now on nutrition. Schools are starting to implement programs, healthy children, school gardens. Kids are learning to garden, to plant their own vegetables. Business wellness workshops, the big companies are starting to look at getting their employers a bit on the healthier side. Even healthy challenges, you can see them everywhere in the workplace. You know how many step challenges and avoiding sugar challenges, all sorts of things. So I really think that people are becoming more aware of being healthy and nutrition. I've also seen some big name companies just making changes. I mean, we can all just look around at McDonald's and see that, they've got more salads and yogurts and muesli. And then recently, Burger King has developed I think it's a vegan, but I'm not sure. It's either vegetarian or vegan burger, which I have not yet tried, but I think that's pretty awesome. So they're appealing more to people that are starting to become more health conscious. And people are realizing they don't have to wait for a health crisis before they take charge of their health. So I always say prevention is better than cure. Know if there's an issue, take control of it now, or just, have a health check and just see where you are. I also see a lot of clients come in and they've been to many doctors. They haven't been able to find what their issue is, what's going on, and they're looking for a natural way. So some people come in my door and sometimes I'm their last resort, and that makes me very happy that they've come to a natural approach to the lifestyle changes that they need to make. So I believe that food and lifestyle is our medicine, and it's far better to be proactive now before it may be too late. And I'm not scaring anyone out there, but I did look up just a few statistics. And the number one killer globally is heart disease. And this statistic has jumped since 2015 hugely. So we went to around 5 million deaths a year. Now we're in 2020. According to the World Health Organization, 18 million deaths yearly, which is accounts for 31% of the deaths worldwide. That's almost a third, which I find staggering, and very upsetting actually, because a lot of the causes for heart disease can be preventable and avoided. So things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, obesity, all of these contribute to heart disease. But there's prevention out there. There's exercise, being active, getting outside, moving the body, not smoking, maintaining a healthy weight, so getting within, the estimated BMI, and proper nutrition, of course. What we put in our mouth hugely affects our body, which I'm going to talk about coming up. Another statistic, according to the International Diabetes Federation, that currently every 7 seconds, someone is estimated to die from diabetes or its complications. Every 7 seconds. So that is a huge, huge number. And again, preventable and treatable. Heart disease and diabetes we can't always see. So it's good to know your numbers. If you come see me, I will take your blood glucose. I can also order you bloods to check your HbA1c, which is a marker for diabetes. And of course, for heart disease, I take your blood pressure, give you a stress test, talk about smoking, talk about weight loss, what your goals are, where you want to be. So these things are preventable. So I just want to talk a little bit about why we eat. I think this is like a revelation for a lot of people. So we are cellular beings. There are 37 approximately trillion cells in our body. 37 trillion. Those cells are what help keep us alive, help the body function properly. So what we eat directly impacts the health of our cells. In fact, the food that we eat provides the raw material for your cellular health. So we all have the power of improving the function of every single cell in our body. I think that's pretty cool. We have the control. So how we choose to live our lives impacts those cells and their function. So what does this really mean? So on a cellular level, we can actually be much healthier today than we were 3 months ago, because those cells would have replicated and renewed themselves based off of what we've been eating the last 3 months. I think that's pretty exciting. I think that's awesome. So I wish I could show you this image here, but it's an image of a cell and the nucleus and the mitochondria, and there's an actual channel into the cells where the nutrients enter. So you want the nutrients to enter into those cells. So once we eat, hopefully we're eating, whole unprocessed foods that have been grown outside without the use of pesticides and herbicides. So that food has drawn up the nutrients from hopefully really good soil. Hopefully we're chewing that food really well. We're breaking it down. Remember, that's where we can control our digestive health. And then it goes to our stomach. Our hydrochloric acid breaks it down even further. It leaves the stomach. Bile acids from our gallbladder, pancreatic enzymes from our pancreas begin to work to break it down even further. So every bit of that digestive system conveyor belt, if you will, is really, really important, because by the time food reaches your gastrointestinal tract, it has to be broken down to what is called a monomer. That is an extremely tiny little particle that has to be absorbed through the gut wall and then into the cells. So again, the nutrients enter the cells through this tiny little channel. That's amazing. It's like putting gasoline in your car. Literally, what we eat is putting nutrients into our cells. We're making deposits every single day. So it kind of makes you think when we're having that donut, or the bag of chippies, or that pie. Okay, so as I was saying, what we eat is huge. It impacts our health every day, and we have control over whether we can nourish ourselves or not nourish ourselves. So if we're eating foods that come man-made, packaged, maybe there's additives, maybe there's preservatives, colorings, flavor enhancers, our bodies actually don't have those enzymes to recognize red number 3. To recognize MSG, to recognize that stabilizer. So the enzyme's job is to work to break the food down so it can actually be absorbed through the gut wall. So if that packet of instant noodles that you've eaten, in fact, they once did an experiment I saw. Instant noodles with blue Gatorade. Okay, they had them together. They took a camera, somehow the camera went through, and they watched to see the blue from the Gatorade or whatnot helped make the noodles really visible. They tracked the noodles, and they didn't break down. They didn't break down at all, because those instant noodles are actually made from a lot of artificial ingredients that the body doesn't really recognize. So if you have food that's sitting in this long tube and it's not being broken down, depending on what it is, especially if you have a meat source or whatnot, it can putrefy and it can create bacterial overgrowth, often known as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. It can also create a yeast overgrowth, also known as candida. So when you have an overgrowth in the gut, nutrients cannot be absorbed properly. If nutrients are not absorbed properly, there's such a laundry list of things that can happen. So, you need magnesium for the brain. So maybe if you're not getting your magnesium from the nuts and seeds you're eating, you start to notice, I'm getting a lot of headaches. You can get brain fog, fatigue, just waking up not having energy in the morning. So there's just so many different things that can happen if we are not breaking our food down and we are not taking care of our gut. So if you're listening, you might be wondering, well, what does a consultation actually look like with me? So what would you be getting? Maybe it can be a bit scary thinking about going to see a nutritionist. So like I said, a consultation is an hour and a half, and it is a Warren of Fitness for the entire body. And in that time, I'm going to give you some tests. So I will give you a zinc test. Zinc is extremely important in the body. It has many functions, from your gut integrity, keeps your gut junctions very, very tight, to your immune system, to your hormonal balance. So zinc helps convert cholesterol into hormones in the body. It's just such an important one to test for, because if you are deficient, I do usually put people on supplements for a period of time just to get their zinc stores back up. So we've got zinc. I test your cholesterol levels, so your blood cholesterol, which is very important. And if it is elevated, we discuss and get to the reason as to why, because there's many reasons why your cholesterol can be elevated. So your time of life, how old you are, whether you're going through menopause, if there's inflammation in the body, your liver health, lots of things to look at for elevated cholesterol. I will take your uric acid, which can measure your kidney function, make sure your kidneys are excreting properly, your blood sugars, your blood pressure, iodine testing, stress test, pH testing, and I can actually order any kind of test you can think of. So whether you want to know if you have any food allergies, food sensitivities, heavy metal toxicity, just a note on that one, if you have a lot of silver fillings, amalgamum in the mouth, which is actually mercury, you might want to get a heavy metal test just to see if that mercury is leaching into the body, and it can actually cause quite a few problems. Hormonal testing, so any kind of hormones that you want tested, environmental sensitivities, organ health testing, parasites, gut bacteria, yeast overgrowth. So any kind of test I can order, and I can also order blood tests during a consultation if you need that. So we're going to go through the tests, we're going to go through the body systems. I'm going to look at your tongue. It's an extension of your digestive tract. So I'll be looking to see if it looks like a kitten. So you want kind of slight pink, no ridges, cracks, no scalloping on the sides, coating on the tongue, be it yellow or white, raised papillae, which are little bumps on the tongue. Lots to look at there. I'll look at your nails. We'll talk about your bowel health. Are you having a bowel motion daily? What does it look like? Believe it or not, it's a very good idea to take a look at your bowel motions, because you can tell a lot about your health from your bowels. So do take a look. And lifestyle and current diet, like I said. So if you are listening and you're thinking, well, you know what, it's still the beginning of 2020. I'd like to take control of my health. I have noticed this little thing niggling at me. Do get in touch. If you have Southern Cross Health Insurance, there's a very good chance that your consultation is covered depending on your plan. So you can always ring up Southern Cross and just say, hey, I'd like to see this nutritionist. I want to see if my plan covers it. And just let me know at the time of appointment and I'll get you a receipt. Or maybe you just want to warrant a fitness for the body. So that is really what I wanted to talk to you all about today. I believe, there's a new era for nutrition. Times are changing. People are becoming more aware of their health, of the foods on the market today, the ingredients that they have, and knowing that it's just not functioning properly for their bodies and it's actually doing more harm than good. So hopefully if you've been listening, you got a little bit of an understanding about the importance of what we do put in our mouth and the raw materials that food provides our cells. And remember, at 3 months' time, the amazing fact that our cells renew themselves, so we can literally change our health in 3 months' time. So thanks for listening. You've been listening to Radio Kidnappers, and my name is Heather Barrow. I'm a registered clinical nutritionist operating in G's Pharmacy in Taradale, and this is Food for Life. So wishing you all a very good week and a healthy month.